All right, there we go. Much better. Hello, welcome to Whiskey Through Food. I am Ardbeg Cam, your resident heavily peated preacher. Today, I've got another incredible food pairing for you. As always, Whiskey Through Food airing every Monday, every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I say that with a slight smirk on my face because today we were plagued with technical difficulties. But don't worry, this too shall pass. And I've got an incredible glass full of Ardbeg Anno. So today, things couldn't really go awry for me. I've got an absolute fantastic whiskey in my glass. So at the end of the day, I get to meet with some of my friends, talk cocktails, and have a hell of a time. So, as always, Whiskey Through Food, we aim to do some absolute fantastic food pairing to some unique and interesting kind of snacks. Today marks the first of our Halloween-themed kind of candy episodes. So today I'm going to be food pairing Twizzlers to Ardbeg Anno. Of course, the classic strawberry Twizzler. I would be a psychopath if I went with any other flavor. Let's just jump on and make sure that we've got some viewers on our Facebook at Ardbeg Cam, and let's also make sure that we've got some viewers on our YouTube at Ardbeg Cam on YouTube as well. All right. Ardbeg Cam, there we are, and we are on. Fantastic. Yes. So, something that I would really love to discuss while we're moving into this very first tasting is one of my absolute favorite things about Ardbeg, and actually more so about malted barley in general, right? On Isla, this incredible little island that has a little over 3,000 people living on it at any given point year round, you are going to smell and experience a lot of absolute fantastic experiences and smells, right? One of the most kind of alluring and intoxicating is the smell of like strawberry yogurt that sometimes can be wafting over Port Ellen. Port Ellen, of course, is the largest township on Isla and also is conveniently where Port Ellen Maltings facility is located. So it's actually these maltings that are giving off this incredibly fragrant, fresh raspberry meets, these kind of softened yogurt aromatics. One of the things that I absolutely love about Isla is not only this kind of allurious and just luxurious kind of smell wafting about in Port Ellen, but also the fact that, right outside of Port Ellen, there's what I would like to refer to as the most famous road in whiskey. 3 absolutely incredible whiskey distilleries right next door to each other, Lagavulin, Lafroig, and of course, Ardbeg, right? You keep traversing down that road, and ultimately you're going to come down to the Kildalton Cross, an absolutely incredible and iconic landmark. But if you were actually to head back into town, kind of going straight back towards Port Ellen and swing up like you were going towards the airport, what you would actually come to is this like crossroads where you can take this slight left and go off towards the Mull of O, which is actually conveniently what Ardbeg Anno is named after. So on the Mull of O sits this incredible, I think it's about 420 so odd feet tall American monument that was built in 1920. So this American monument actually commemorates the 1918 crashes or shipwrecks of 2 different ships. First off, the Tuscania, and then also the Ontrato as well. So the Tuscania was actually, this ship that was making a voyage from New Jersey all the way over to France. It was torpedoed right off of Isla. And then about 8 months later, the Ontrato actually collided with another ship roughly in the exact same location as well. So 2 shipwrecks that are commemorated, at least in the 1920 construction of the American Monument. Again, that was actually constructed by the American Red Cross on Isla. Right. So let's dive into a little bit of whiskey tasting now that we've got our delicious Ardbeg Anno in its glass. I always like to say it's like saying I know, but with a Scottish accent. Anno. All right. On the nose. This kind of richness. I'm met with a lot of these really wonderful kind of warming baker's spices. That baker's spice is going to be things like clove, things like cinnamon, things like nutmeg as well. I like to believe that that is in part, of a component of this whiskey being aged in virgin American oak casks. Those virgin American oak casks are going to give you lots of like that vanillin, again, lots of that clove kind of aspect as well. All of those things that we really love about American whiskeys, like Maker's Mark, like Jack Daniels, like Wild Turkey as well, right? There's an oxidative note as well, kind of what cognac makers would kind of call like rancio. There's a rancio note, really delicious, almost hay. Yeah, kind of hay, as well as some like dark fruits. I'm getting prune, over ripened strawberries as well is going to be a really great one. It kind of smells supple and sweet. Salanjava, let's get into it. That's absolutely delicious. There's this kind of like lipid aspect to this whiskey, as you'll see with all Ardbegs, because we bottle all our whiskeys intentionally over 46% alcohol by volume, meaning that they're non-chill filtered whiskeys, right? So you get a lot of these incredible like free fatty acids and all of these other really interesting organic compounds that are going to give the whiskey weight and viscosity as well. So again, as I always say, it's not only about how a whiskey smells or how it tastes, but also how it feels and how it makes you feel as well. So this whiskey for me, very much so that these dark kind of rich fruits give way to all of that spice, beautiful smoke throughout the mid palate, salinity, there's salt. That salt kind of gives gives amplification to all of those kind of rich, sweet aspects that I enjoyed up front. I like to view this whiskey as kind of a greatest hits of the distillery, if you will. There's a piece or there's an idea from each of the other whiskeys in the core range. Of course, first off, you have first and second fill ex-bourbon barrels as well, kind of akin to the whiskey that would go into what we call the 10-year, right? There's an element of that whiskey in all the whiskeys that we make at Ardbeg. Next, you're going to have some virgin American oak, similar to what we're using for Corrievrecken, except for Corrievrecken, it is virgin French oak, Limousin cask, right? For Ardbeg Anno, of course, we're talking about virgin American oak, essentially barrels that would have gone to bourbon production, but we utilized them before. Right. Then you're going to also have some sherry cask. Of course, the sherry is going to take on Pedro Jimenez sherry, that PX, all of those delicious raisin, date, black currants aspects that we love about a whiskey, as luxurious and kind of dark and ominous as Anno is. Those are all really amplified by a component that's wholly aged in Pedro Jimenez sherry cask as well. So those components kind of come together and are allowed to marry in the Anno marrying vats. I know the most technical of terms. And those marrying vats, essentially what they're going to do is they're going to allow those spirits to kind of temper, to start to get to know each other. Think about curry, the way curry is always better the next day. And those things are going to get to know each other just a little bit more. All right. So let's pair this to a little bit of candy. Happy Halloween, trick or treat. I think you know the answer. Trick for treat? That's terrible. Oh, don't get fired from your own show here. All right. So Twizzlers are going to be our first selection. I'm not going to say that Twizzlers are my favorite candy, because that would be a bold-faced lie. But it was a natural selection when thinking about, iconic, trick or treat kind of shareable candies. I remember like these little mini Twizzler packs that they used to give out, and I would be so mad because I'd only get like one or two of them, but they were always one of my favorites. If I had to pick a favorite candy, debatable here, but I might go Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Who knows? I don't know. All right, but Twizzlers, classic strawberry. We're going to be pairing this to the ever fantastic Ardbeg Anno. I have a feeling like these two are going to go swimmingly together. The sherry cask that's going to impart a lot of that kind of soft, fruity aspect is going to really, really pair nicely to this as well. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Twizzlers, not a whole lot of a smell to them. There is a little bit of this kind of like softened strawberry aromatic. Mm. There's that delicious sugar right there. You know what we're gonna do here? The only real way to do this would be to do this here. Ardbeg Anno through the Twizzler straw is delicious. That smoke actually now jumps more front palate. The fruity aspects of the whiskey all kind of cascade in afterwards. The salt, salt and strawberries go really, really well together. I've always thought that. There's this kind of herbaceous and herbal quality to them as well. Something that I love about not only Ardbeg, but then also about Twizzlers as well. It's never just tasted like strawberry to me. There's always kind of been something like a little bit more to it. So I'm able to coax that out with just a little bit of the herbal and kind of herbaceous notes of Ardbeg Anno. Some of this like heather that's kind of jumping out of the glass here. I'm just kind of throwing a twist, just a little bit of a twist onto the Twizzlers. You see what I did there? I know you saw it. I've got a really fun cocktail for you today as well, so let's get into that. Slanjava, that's absolutely fantastic. All right, so our cocktail today. Absolutely fantastic cocktail that I dreamed up. We are going to be recreating one of my absolute favorite cocktails to drink around this time of the year, the Sazerac. So our Sazerac cocktail is going to go into this absolutely fantastic beveled glassware. It has been pre-chilled. Pour that out. As the base of our Sazerac, of course, we're going to use Ardbeg Anno. There we go. There we are. We're going to use Ardbeg Anno. We're also going to use this absolutely fantastic Twizzlers syrup that I have made. A Twizzler syrup. Took about 1 cup sugar, 1 cup water, made a simple syrup. Took about 5 Twizzlers, allowed them to simmer in the simple syrup for about an hour, hour and 15 minutes. Very, very low heat, slow and steady. What it took is a lot of the beautiful coloration, a lot of the sweetness as well, that fresh kind of fragrant strawberry. There is still that like little bit of, strawberry plus, let's kind of say that aspect. Where I get the strawberries, there's just something else kind of lingering. All of that kind of interesting saccharine aspect of the Twizzlers transferred over into our syrup as well, so we'll be using that. Then we're going to be using an absolutely fantastic Peychaud's bitters. This is a barrel-aged version. I think that the added, barrel aging is going to kind of help round out some of the flavors in our cocktail just a little bit more. All right, let's go ahead and do this. So, Ardbeg Anno. We're going to go ahead and pop in 2 ounces of this absolutely fantastic whiskey. Next, I'm going to use about 1/4 of an ounce. Actually, let's go ahead and bump that up to 1/2 ounce there. Because this was, once I had to add a little bit more water to get it to go back into solution. So after everything was said, this was probably about a 1 to 1.5, ratio simple syrup. There was a little bit more water than we originally had wanted. Next, I'm going to add just a little bit of Pernod to my cocktail glass, just to kind of get some of that herb saint, that anise kind of aspect to it. And that smells absolutely delicious. We're going to make sure that it coats every single inch of that glass. Notice that luging as well. I've always really loved that. And there we go. Perfect. Just christening the bar, don't worry there. And next we'll take about 5 dashes of our delicious barrel-aged bitters. There we are. Again, that coloration is going to look really, really fantastic. Now we'll just go ahead and add some ice. And we're going to stir this cocktail for dilution. Really going to make sure we give it a good stir here. We want to make sure that we get everything into solution here. And then that we also properly dilute it to make sure that this cocktail will not only have the correct mouthfeel, but then also that the sugar content from us using a half an ounce of that syrup isn't too high. That should be about good. Let's go ahead and give it a taste. Jesus, that's delicious. All right. Make sure we strain it into its appropriate glassware. Ooh, it's so pretty. I love me a pink cocktail. That's a doozy. That's a beautiful drink. We're going to go ahead and garnish. I'm going to say express, kind of kiss the glass, discard. Get that out of here. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and serve this cocktail with a Twizzler. And there you have it. An absolutely fantastic Sazerac variation where you sip it through the Twizzler itself. And that is absolutely delicious. Who said whiskey cocktails aren't supposed to be fun? I'm absolutely loving the serve of this cocktail. The fresh strawberry really jumps out. The beautiful, beautiful kind of herbal aspects coming from our Pernod absolutely come to the forefront. The weight, again, the weight of Ardbeg NO very much so kind of pronounces itself. All of this accents this absolutely delicious strawberry. Very, very classically kind of put together cocktail with things that you can find, well, ultimately that you should be stocking up on for Halloween. Don't let these kids down as they socially distance and, I guess, respectfully, try to do their best at going around and trying to collect as much candy as they can this year. I think that they could definitely use it. So make sure you're stocked up on Twizzlers. Make sure you got you some Three Musketeers, some Kit Kats as well. Do it for the kids. Don't let them down here. But also make sure you make yourself one of these on Halloween night as well. So again, as always, cheers, Salah Java, and I'll see you on Friday. That's a winner.